Hello my loves, my name is Mina, welcome to my channel Mina Reads, and today we're doing an unhaul. So I have done multiple unhauls on my channel, and this unhaul is going to be quite similar. I usually do this unhaul with me style, where I take you around my various bookshelves, we look at things together, and I evaluate if I want to keep or get rid of a few books that I have on my shelves. I don't have like the biggest book collection in the world, especially like in comparison to other booktubers, but for me, I just feel like I'm not a huge collector, and so the more books I have, the more uncomfortable I feel with the number of them that are in my possession. And I also am really trying to spend 2022's reading year being reflective and constantly thinking about like my book buying habits and everything like that. And what I'm learning is that I feel like my book buying habits are so different from my book reading habits that it almost doesn't even make sense. I read most of my books from the library or from Kindle Unlimited. I read a lot of ebooks, a lot of audiobooks, and I don't really read that many physicals. So owning a bunch of physicals just doesn't make that much sense. And also I feel like my book buying habits, they're kind of like I buy the things that people are talking about on the internet, but they don't necessarily reflect my own reading taste or what I'm loving or what I'm super interested in. And it has led to like this really rapid expansion of my book collection, and I'm just at this point uncomfortable with how many books that I own. So I am going to be unhauling a pretty aggressive amount, and I'm going to take you on that journey with me. And also on this journey with me today is our sponsor, PangoBooks. PangoBooks is an incredibly user-friendly app for buying and selling used books, and I have been using it to sell books as I'm unhauling them. I'm constantly unhauling. I'm constantly, you know, shifting things off of my shelves as I read them. Today we're going to do like a really massive unhaul with their help, but I absolutely love PangoBooks. It's really great. As I said, it's incredibly user-friendly, so I'm going to show you what like the interface looks like and everything, and I'm going to show you the process of me selling a book. But it's really simple. All you have to do is take a picture of the book that you want to sell, scan the barcode that's usually found on like the back of the book, and then you insert the like retail price and then how much you want to sell it for, and they do help you figure out what kind of pricings work best. And it really makes the selling experience like really easy. So I would definitely recommend checking them out if you have a bunch of books that you'd also like to unhaul. So yeah, thank you so much to PangoBooks for sponsoring this video, and let's get into the unhaul. Okay, so to start off our unhaul, we are going to start on this bookshelf, which you usually see behind me whenever I film in front of my bookshelves. And I'm just going to show you all the shelves. Don't mind that little bit of random stuff on the bottom. Okay, can you see me? Can you see the shelves? I'm hoping that the framing of this looks right. I'm going to be unhauling things that I've read and didn't like, things that I think I'll probably never get to, and things that maybe I read and did like a little bit, but I probably am never going to reread. So that's like my thought process for this unhaul. Starting up here at the top, I have this Ice Planet Barbarians cover. I have this Ice Planet Barbarians, it's very cute, and this other random romance that I have never read. But honestly, I don't know anything about this romance. It's called So We Meet Again by Suzanne Park. I don't really know what it's about, but the cover is cute and the publisher sent it to me, so I'll keep this for a little while and see if maybe my feelings change and I actually want to read it. But there is two books right here that these two are covering up. This is Veiled by Karina Halley and Victor by Theodora Taylor. I'm assuming that these are some romances. I don't know much about them, and I don't care to know anything about them. They were sent to me unsolicited, so they're going. Okay, so then this shelf is my romance shelf. Well, most of my romances are on this shelf. So we've got First Comes Like by Alicia Ray. This is the third book in her like online something series, whatever. Basically I like the first two books in this series. I think that this book was okay. It was like a 3-star, but I'm never going to read it again. And if I did want to read it again, I do have like an audio copy of it, so I don't feel like I need to keep this book. Then we've got my copy of The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I read this in like 2018. I loved it in 2018. Would I still love it if I read it today? Probably not. So I'm just going to get rid of this copy, and you can see my very ugly tabs in it. But yeah, I'm going to be getting rid of this, and I'm excited to be free of it. And finally, we have this book. It's called A Low Country Bride. I don't really know what this is, but It was sent to me by the publisher, and I don't necessarily want to read it. It doesn't sound like something that's for me. I can't really say that I'm like the hugest fan of traditionally published romances at the moment. They've been kind of disappointing me a bit, so I probably won't be hauling as many of them as I once might have. Right here, we have Red Country by Joe Abercrombie. Listen, I really love the First Law series. I truly do. But this was my least favorite, and I do own the audio of it. So if I ever want to revisit it, then I will listen to the audio. But I don't need it taking up space. And it's just kind of a thick book, so it's going. Okay, hi. So I took you off with a tripod. First up, we've got Malice by John Gwynne. I attempted to read this book. I got about 400 pages into this book. I did not care about this book. So I have 400 pages of my attention, and it didn't grip me in all that time. So it's going. To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. I attempted to read this, and I actually was kind of liking it, but I don't know. Maybe I'll keep it, maybe I'll try it another day, because I was kind of liking it at the time I was reading it, but I was reading it during final season, and this book is a little bit too big-brained for final season Amina. So maybe I will keep it, and I'll just try to read it again at a better time. Maybe I was generous. Okay, I'll keep this one. But this was kind of a similar story to Malice, where I got pretty deep into it. I feel like this book was like 800 pages, and I was maybe like 500 pages into it, but I just felt like I didn't know what was happening. But it wasn't bad. I did like it. So I think that I might just try reading it again at a different time. Maybe that's the answer. I am gonna get rid of First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. This book is a sci-fi, like, space opera. It's a intergalactic war between like Mars, Venus, and Earth. Some stuff and some things. And I didn't hate this. I talk about this a little bit in like my most disappointing of 2021. And I didn't hate this book, but I also didn't really love it. And so I don't necessarily see myself reading the sequel. I don't see myself rereading this book. So it's just like I don't necessarily think that I need to keep it on my shelves. So yeah, this is going. But I am kind of sad to see it go, because this is one of the most gorgeous covers I have ever seen. And in a very similar vein to that, another very gorgeous cover, Son of the Storm by Suyi Davies Onkambawa. I read this, I believe, in the summer, maybe like June 2021, if you want to see my wrap up, but don't care. I definitely don't care to read more in this series if there's going to be more books. And it just was like, meh. So it's going, but I am sad about it because this cover is also very gorgeous. Okay, so on this bottom shelf, I do have a few books that I believe it may be their time to go. So I have Hot Under the Collar by Andy Christopher something. This is supposed to be like a priest romance or something. I just don't care. Then we also have The Girl with Stars in Her Eyes by Zeo Axelrod. I attempted to read this book for a particular video. I'll leave that linked up in the cards up above or something, but I didn't like this. I didn't have fun reading this. I want to say I got like maybe 150 pages into it, and I just was not invested, and I didn't care. And this is supposed to kind of be a romance, or it's at least marketed as a romance, and I don't feel like the romantic elements were at all selling me. It wasn't giving, so it's going. And then I have Permanent Record by Mary H.K. Choi. This is like a YA, I think. It's like a YA new adult something, a tender teen romance or something. Listen, I'm just not a YA girly, and I got this a few years ago when I thought that maybe I could be a YA girly, but that's just not the case. So this is also going. All of these, don't mind my Batman DVD right there. So we got all of these. I'm gonna stack these up and put them on this desk right here. Okay, can you see me? Not really. Okay, cool. So now we're at this other shelf. This shelf is absolutely stuffed to the brim, and these are mostly, I would say these are primarily full of books that I probably haven't read yet, but there still needs to be a bit of an aggressive culling of the books over here. So yeah, and also you can kind of sort of see, but there's like a huge stack of books over there as well. So we've got our work cut out for us over here. All right, so starting on this top shelf, we got these books, and okay, cool. So of this top shelf, I'm getting rid of a few of these. Two YAs right here. I've got Piecing Me Together by Renee Watson. This was a book that I read in like 2019, 2018, and I really did love this. I thought it was a very good YA, like hard-hitting contemporary. It was really good. But again, I'm not really in my YA era. I'm not necessarily a YA reader, and I don't really see myself coming back to this. I liked Piecing Me Together, but again, I'm not really much of a YA reader anymore, and I just don't think that it's a book that I will ever really be coming back to, so I don't feel the need to keep it. And in a similar vein, we have More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. I read this book in like 2017, absolutely loved it. I was in high school back then. I thought that it was so good and it was amazing, and it probably is very good and very amazing, but I'm just no longer in that reading headspace. Okay, then I've got Miss Everything by Jennifer Weiner. I believe this is like a multi-generational, like one of those like multi-generational family saga type books. And I just don't really read very much of those, and I don't have any particular desire to read this book. So it's just kind of sitting on the shelf doing nothing. So it's gonna go. Now this book, I feel like I must have been in like a fugue state when I bought this, because I have absolutely no idea why I got it and what I thought I was going to gain from it. But I bought this book years ago, maybe in like 2018 or something, on thrift books in, like, as I said, a fugue state, and it's called 40 Acres. It's like a thriller. It's about, I think it's about like rich black people who have like enslaved white people on their property or something. It's like, I don't know. I just don't think that this kind of like speculative aspect of like what if black people were slave owners is like even remotely interesting. So I have no idea why I bought this, and I'm getting rid of it. Now we're doing this second shelf. I think I'm only going to get rid of one book that's on this shelf, and it's going to be The Killing Moon by N.K. Jemisin. I tried and I really failed with this book. I didn't care about the characters, I didn't really care about the world, so it was just one of those books where it's just very not for me. I don't think it's bad, but it's not for me. So next we've got these two shelves that I'm gonna do a little bit of work on. Alright, I'm unhauling The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I have a vlog reading this, as well as I talk about it in my January wrap-up. I didn't like it, 2 stars, so we're getting rid of it. Also, we have An Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I read this, I want to say like a year or 2 ago. It was quite some time ago that I read this book. It was fine. I gave it like 3 stars at the time, but I'm just not going to like reread it, so I don't necessarily feel the need to keep it. Okay. Speaking of which, I think I'm going to get rid of the first 2 books in the Ember and the Ashes series, because I read both of them. They're both fine. I think this one was a 3-star, this was a 4-star. It was cool, but I'm probably never going to like reread these books, and I do have the 3rd and the 4th book in the series, and I'm still unsure if I will ever want to like read those ones, but like these ones in particular, I just know I've already read and I'm not going to reread, so they can go as well. So now we're looking at my book of the month shelf, one of them, and I'm thinking I'm gonna get rid of The Maids by Alex Michaelides, just because, like I said, I read Silent Patient and I didn't like it, and I feel like because of that, I don't think that Alex Michaelides will be able to stick the landing of a thriller. Like, I think his writing style is good. I think that he has interesting concepts, but I don't think that his twists are ever going to work for me. And I heard a lot of really absolutely god-awful reviews for the book, even from people who enjoyed The Silent Patient. So I feel like this just solidified for me that Alex is not, you know, he's not my thriller guy, so we're getting rid of this. Also, Razorblade Tears. I read this for the Literally Dead book club, and I think this is like a 2.5, 3-star kind of book, but I'm absolutely not going to read it again, and I don't see a need to keep it. Then we have, perhaps controversially, The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. Now, I'm unhauling this book not for any like particularly bad reasons. This is just a duplicate copy. I have another copy of The Heart Principle, but it's a paperback and it matches the other 2 books in the series, so I'm unhauling this one for that reason. Alright, so then I'm gonna unhaul The Perishing by Natasha Dion, because my mother, she was reading this, and I'm not sure exactly how far in she got, but she was reading this and she told me that it was just absolutely awful and she hated it. So I trust her taste enough that I'm just gonna get rid of it, sight unseen. So I feel like that's probably all the books that I'm gonna get rid of from over here, but I do have this little stack of books that we could probably cull a few items from. Okay, so The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. I I've just heard a lot of really meh reviews of this book, and I got maybe like 75 to 100 pages into this book, and I ended up DNFing it. So I feel like based on the reviews and my own initial impression, I don't think this is a book that I'm going to enjoy, so I'm just going to get rid of it. But Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. This book is a Greek mythological retelling, and I read this last year. I just didn't really end up loving it. I think the audiobook of it is really, really good. It just was like, it was fine. And at the time that I read it, I was in a Greek mythology class, and so I felt like this was just so close to the source material of a lot of myths about Dionysus and about Ariadne herself that it just felt like a complete retread, and it didn't feel like, I don't want to say a reimagining because it doesn't promise to be a reimagining, but it promises to be a retelling, and I want a retelling to tell me something additional to the source material, and I just don't feel like it did. So yeah, I'm getting rid of it. I think I have selected the final 4 books in this unhaul, and they're going to be, first of all, these 3 books: When Ashes Fall by Marnie Mann, some book by Piper Winters, and this book called Present Perfect, The Perfect Series by Allison G. Bailey. These were all sent to me unsolicited by the publisher. Publisher, I have no idea how you got my address, but please delete me from the system. I'm begging you. I think that's gonna be it. So let me like stack all the books up, and then we can like look at them and discuss, maybe. I don't know. Ooh. All right, babes. So this is the final product of the unhaul, and this right here is like a really tall stack. And it looks like very dangerously close to falling over. But yeah, this is the unhaul. We unhauled 30 books today, and I am quite pleased with this. Hopefully this is going to make a lot more space on my shelves, and I will be selling some of these, so they will be available on my PangoBooks page if you'd like to buy some. But any books that don't sell, I'll just give them away to the little free libraries in my area, or maybe to friends or whatever. This is a stack that we're working with. It's quite large. So thank you so much for tuning in to this unhaul with me. I feel like it was very productive. So you can check out my PangoBooks page. I'll show you what it looks like, what my username is, and I'll also leave a link in the description below if you'd like. But yeah, be sure to check out Pango if you are doing any unhauling and you like to make a little bit of money off of it, or if you'd like to buy some used books, because there are some pretty good prices on there. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you all in my next one, and a special thank you to my wonderful patrons. Bye y'all.